Hey everybody, it's Christine up today with the new Kate and Ash collection from Simple Stories, and I am going to use the patterned papers really as the main focus of my layout today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make kind of a quilted look to be able to really extend how much I can use. So right now you can see I've got this green monochromatic paper down as my very base. And then I have a patterned yellowish paper, and then I have another green layer, and then I have a white layer, and then I'm going to use these triangles to build up my last layer. Now, there are lots of layers going on here. What I'm trying to do is keep things light because this collection does have a lot of darks and lights, and so I opted to really focus mostly on the lights. To be able to use a lot of colors, but also to have a design that will really draw the eye in to look at the pictures. So this collection is really geared at tweens, teens, older girls. It has a lot of really fun icons and elements, and the patterns are less juvenile and more mature for those young adult ladies that we have in our lives. One of the things I really wrestled with on this initial part was trying to figure out which papers to use for my triangles. So I'm going back and forth on this a lot because part of my problem was there was certain ones that I really wanted to use, and there was other ones that I didn't want to use as much, but they worked better. And so I'm trying to convince myself which direction to go. What I knew for sure was that I really wanted this mustard yellow color to be the focal color of this layout, and you'll see why in a little bit when you see my pictures. So I knew I needed that for sure in the mix. Now, if you're wondering how I created these triangles and you didn't quite catch it as I just did it, what I did is I took a regular square and then I just cut it on the diagonal and then on the diagonal again. So basically I did an X and cut those out. So just a really simple way to cut it apart. Now I did make it a little bit smaller than my white square so that my white square will mat these triangles well. Now you've seen me playing with it, putting it all around, moving things, etc. Now you're going to see it actually come together. So I have that green background. Then I've got this really pretty yellow floral background. And like I said, I want that yellow to really be my focal color of the layout, but that green really complements it nicely as well. Then I add another layer of the green to that. And then I'm going to put my whole quilt square, if you will, onto the middle there. I am going to pop that up with some crafty foam tape in order to provide some separation between the layers because there are so many layers going on here already. And this is just another example of how I approach my layouts. When I do it, I like to really build a base. And if I can add a unique element to the base at all, that's really where I jump off with things. Then the next thing, you can see the pile of pictures that I've got there, and you can see why that yellow needed to be my focal color. So I'm going to break down these pictures. I'm going to figure out which ones I actually want to use and mat those in white. In the end, I'm going to go for 3 pictures. One of them is a little bit bigger and more of a square shape, and then 2 smaller ones that are more of a 3x4 shape. And the bigger one then will be my main focal point picture, but you can see they all kind of blend together and they all have a different feel to them. I just liked, like, she's being silly in one of them. Another one, I liked the way that she was looking off in the distance and smiling. So I really wanted to be able to include several of them. Next up, I'm going to figure out what layers I want to tuck behind this. Now, because I've got those busy patterns going already, I don't want to go too crazy here. So I'm looking through the ephemera, losing my words here, the ephemera pile to see if there's anything that will work. But all in all, I think they're just a little bit too busy. So I'm going to table that for now, and I'm going to go ahead and build a floral border along the bottom of my pictures, working on that part while I think about what I want to do with the layers behind my pictures. So I'm going to mix in ephemera, I'm going to have stickers, I'm going to have chipboard, I'm going to have foam stickers, all kinds, a huge variety within there to use. You can see also that I am mixing and matching how they go on there. So some of them are going to be popped up with 3D foam squares. Some of them are going to go on there just flat, and all trying to just create some dimension and interest there below the pictures and draw the eye in again to those pictures. So the next thing I'm going to do is pull in this buffalo check, buffalo plaid paper, and I really wanted to be able to incorporate this. I also wanted to work some black into this without it being an overwhelming part of the layout. Part of the reason I wanted to do that is because I want to work some black into my title. So I cut out this border, and the way I did this is I just trimmed with my scissors all the way along the inside of it. So I just did a little slit so that I could get started, and then I went along the inside and just followed the straight line to create a full-on square border that I could just set right along the outside there. And you can see how this really transforms the look of the layout without being too overwhelming with the black, just enough to make it really interesting. I also think it really showcases the colors of this collection really well. It shows how it's got some darks and lights mixed in there as well. You can see I'm wrestling a little bit to get it on there to lay flat, because you know, if you get just one little part off, throws the whole frame off. But I get it on there just fine here in the end. One of the next things I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do just some pulling up of the border edges. Now, this is a technique that I'm finding I'm employing a lot on my layouts, and it's just a really easy way to add some extra texture, as well as to loosen up a lot of the sharp lines that you've got going on. So this layout has a lot of sharp lines because it's so many boxes and squares, and so by just pulling up the edge really loosely, it just creates a different look and a softer look to the whole thing, which is what I really wanted to try and go for there. Now, off camera, you can see that I navigated through my issues with the layers there. I brought in that buffalo plaid from my border onto the inside. And this is why when you get stuck, sometimes you just put it to the side and let it ruminate a little bit. Think about how you might be able to work it in, but you don't have to do it right that moment. There's no order rules when it comes to scrapbooking. So I just cut out 3 tags, which was really easy to do, just eyeballing it, again, because of the straight lines within the plaid. And then I punched a hole in the top and added a little bit of twine. I added 2 of them up there on the top left and then 1 of them down on the right. I also added in my title, and you can see it's a black script font, so you can see why I wanted to include that black script. I do really love to be able to add a black title because I have a lot of stickers that use black titles, but there's got to be other black elements in there for it to coordinate with. In my mind, at least, I feel like there has to be some rhyme or reason for each color placement within. So this was a good way to be able to tie all of that together. So there you have it, simple layout with a fairly simple design, but lots of layers to it, and a really fun new girl collection for those young ladies in your life from Simple Stories. Be sure to swing by their blog and check out all the close-ups on this one, and hit that subscribe button if you aren't already a subscriber here. I'm glad you visited today, and we will see you again next time.